where he was declared dead shortly after. He was later identified as 19-year-old Adetola Amon. When CNC3 News visited the scene yesterday, police were seen canvassing the area for evidence as frightened residents shared their concerns over safety in the community.
And no crime could come to your home, but I don't walk out like to come to the grocery or anything. My son, he's walk out and I tell him, I say, child crime get out of hand. You just come out here, you use your card, you have to be careful.
The now viral audio clip allegedly linked to Star Sabga has prompted businessman Gerald Aboud to raise concerns about privacy rights in Trinidad and Tobago. The Starlight Group CEO says citizens deserve clear answers about what forms of communication can legally be monitored and who is responsible for protecting that information. His comments come as police investigate the alleged leak of a purported voice note that surfaced after Homeland Security Minister Raj Alexander filed an affidavit referencing intercepted communications involving Sabga. Aboud says no one should be above a lawful investigation, but surveillance must be based on credible evidence, proper authorization, and independent oversight. He is also questioning who decides whom to monitor, whether warrants are required, and ultimately, who is policing the police. We'll stay tuned for another news update at the top of the hour and for comprehensive coverage in our midday news and major newscast at 7 p.m. on CNC3.
Good morning, Trinidad and Tobago. It is Thursday, and as you know, it is action-packed. Ian Wason steps in from 7:30 till 8 for the morning shot. But yours truly, JW, I'm here to take you until 7:30 with some of the leading stories of the day and your in-depth look at the Business Guardian. Peter Christopher stepping in today for Anthony Wilson. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. Welcome. It's the Morning Brew. Yes. Good Thursday morning, Thursday the 30th of July 2026. A couple days and then we say goodbye to July. We welcome August. August steps in on Saturday for the Emancipation holiday. And I can safely say the year is sprinting. Full speed ahead. When August is done, we're back to school from September, and before you could blink twice, we are smack into Christmas and we say goodbye to 2026. What a year it's been thus far. A couple of surprises, big moments, some high moments, some low moments. But indeed, you know, we are still here in the land of the living and we give thanks. And as I always say, it's about putting things in place now so we can leave the generation to come in a better stand. Let's see what's happening via the front page inside the Trinidad and Tobago Guardian on this Thursday the 30th of July, 2026. JW signing on. Legend laid to rest. Yesterday, the Caribbean and many across the cricketing world, we all took a moment to celebrate the legacy and the life of a man who is considered one of the greatest to ever play the game, Sir Garfield Sobers. It's a name, obviously, I heard as a child. Never saw him actually play. He retired in the early 70s, but when you look at the footage, like we're looking at on screen, you recognize that, wow, what a talent. And this was a time when, obviously, there would have been, you know, lots happening on the back end. So to really step out there and play meant a lot for the region, for the game, for Barbados, where he's from. And as you can see, he received a setting send-off, a send-off fit for a king, fit for a man of high distinction. By all means, the West Indies team, we won the test here on Trinidad and Tobago. So that's Rihanna in the mix, you know. National hero Rihanna right next to the Prime Minister, Mia Mottley. And yes, you know, we won the test and the players dedicated the win to the memory and the legacy of Sir Garfield Sobers. What a player. could knock to her, 89. You know, we can't really, we just have to, for me, I mean, I just met him, as I said, only once. It's important to just be grateful. And hopefully the generation to come could look at his record, look at his particular stance, look at his innings, not only on the pitch, but in life, and use it as an example. What a send-off. Legend, laid to rest, front page of the Trinidad and Tobago Guardian. We're looking at another story here, and I will extend personal condolences to Officer Russell when he steps in. Cop killed in ambush. TTPS and manhunt for 2 suspects after a third killed in exchange of gunfire with Officer P.C. Douglas. Really heartbreaking story and a stark reminder of what's at stake when we see officers out there in uniform. You know, many people, whether there's a traffic stop or some interaction, they raise their voice, they go at the officers. But what they do really put them in a position of life and death. And of course, the circumstance regarding this, you know, when you read on page 5, you'll recognize, obviously, a couple of things here at play, but there's a life that's lost. And you notice it's something I've done every single time I see anyone who dies under such tragic means. I really sincerely send that strength to the family, and I also call on family members and friends of the deceased to hold and hug and really be there for those who, direct descendants, who are impacted. And it's not just a one-off, it's something that you have to maintain for the months and probably years to come. So yeah, TTPS and manhunt for 2 suspects after third killed in exchange of gunfire with officer. The story develops here on page 5. I'm also seeing via the front page where the jet ski operator who was charged in the Pigeon Point tragedy denied bail, you know. Yeah, it's right there. Also on page 5, Burnett, his last name, Ashworth. So that story and others inside today's Guardian. We head to the back page and see what's happening. I don't stay too long on a Thursday because we got, obviously, Ian to step in. But this is a little look at what's happening there out of Santo Domingo for the CAC Games. National swimmer Nikolai Blackman swam the anchor leg for TNT's 4x100 freestyle. And by all means, our athletes out there giving their very best, right? And also Stuart Land's discus bronze. That story and others. I know the big story too out of, I would imagine, Europe, because FIFA's headquarters, it's located there in Switzerland. There's a big bacchanal now between FIFA and UEFA. They're drawing their swords, drawing their line in the sand as it pertains to partnerships. Infantino, the FIFA president, wants to bring some foreign actors, just a few, to invest and to share in the pool. So it's an interesting development happening with football, and let's keep our eyes on that particular story. We check out the brief on this Thursday morning. And some action from the Emancipation Village. Yes, let's put it up. Some dramology happening. We went there yesterday, a matter of fact, myself, Nakisha, Sheldon, and Misha, the team, to capture some sights, sounds, the taste, the smell, the feel. We had a great time. It's very hot though, eh? They need to sort out something with that heat. Oh my goodness, yesterday, ooh, you felt it. But nonetheless, a great time. And we're seeing here where it says Sound of Freedom, Emancipation Village Action 2026. Also, conservationists unite to save Caribbean's endangered parrots. So that's a good look, feel good story. Well, CPL. It is around the corner, and we will be bringing you all the TKR games. 8 days until we kick off, we bowl off, bat off. But the TKR games, we got that confirmation from Tova yesterday that we will be bringing those games live from the Queen's Park Oval. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. Get ready for CPL Action 2026. Up next, Peter Christopher steps in for the Business Guardian breakdown. He's next, and I implore you to stick around, relax, and let's get some details. Lots in store on this Thursday.
Life. What a wonderful journey we're on. Each stage is unique. And at Tata Life, we not only understand, but also appreciate that you'll have different needs at different times. So trust us to protect you and yours with our comprehensive range of financial planning solutions to ensure that you never, ever have to worry. To learn more, contact a Tata Life advisor or visit tatalife.co.tt today. For the many stages of your life, Tata Life, a member of the Answer McCall Group.
Recession have you down? Don't lose hope. Head on down to Tire Clinic for the recession deals. That should big savings with our road hazard warranty on Dunlop, Tommy and Falcon tires. Available at Tire Clinic, Couva, Chagonas, and Pleasance Park. Tire Clinic, a tire for every need. Call 636-8973 or 636-2958.
Shop and save at PRW Enterprises. Get a Samsung 75-inch TV, only $8,535. PS5 console game, only $4,800. Samsung E9 tablet, $1,199. JBL soundbar, $1,968. Printers from $650. Blenori Drone X60, only $786. Party speaker box, $2,500. Call PRW today.
As parents and teachers, we came together to establish the National Council of Parent-Teacher Association because we firmly believe that there is greater strength in unity. Today, our schools face real challenges: bullying, violence, and fear. No parent should send a child to school and wonder if they will be safe. No teacher should walk into a classroom afraid of losing control. That's why we welcome the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service into our schools. They bring expertise, they bring skill, and most importantly, they bring the reassurance that learning can happen in peace. We believe in unity. Now we are stronger. We are on board with the police.
The School-Oriented Policing Initiative, securing our schools, securing our future.
Peter Christopher joins me for the Business Guardian breakdown. Let me welcome my colleague on the Zoom line. Peter, great to see you. Good morning.
Good morning, Jason, and good morning to Trinidad and Tobago.
Good morning to you, Pete. I want to get details. I'm looking at the front of the Business Guardian, and I'm seeing it says TNTech stops taking electricity from Bretchen Castle project sundown on solar farm. What does this mean, Peter?
Well, what it means is a bit of unfortunate news. I mean, just over a year ago, we've gotten word that the first set of electrons were produced at that solar farm, and it was expected that when that solar farm was, constructed and placed into operation, that it would ease some of the generation required from TNTech to the national grid. Unfortunately, in this piece by Andrea Perez-Sobas, that has not been the case. Even though the solar farm has started producing, it has not been able to contribute to the national grid. TNTech has not been able to utilize that power or take that power in any way. And the expectation would have been about 8% of the power generated in Trinidad and Tobago could have been facilitated by power generated from that solar farm. And in an era where we're looking at, moving towards renewable energy, it is a bit unfortunate that they have not been able to harness the power generated by the solar farm. And that is what is really, delved into in this piece by Andrea Perez-Sobas.
I mean, what's the problem? I mean, there's no shortage of sunlight. I mean, yesterday alone, this entire week, it's been one of the hottest ever. What's the issue really? What's causing? Because again, solar, I mean, granted, I might not know the full logistics, but we know it's powered by the energy of the sun, and it's transferred now, obviously, to appliances and these major projects. What's the issue really?
Well, she would have reached out to the Minister of Public Utilities, Barry Padarat, and he is stating that there wasn't anything put in place for TNTech really to take up the power, and of course there is no battery system there at the power plant to store the energy. So a lot of it is being wasted in essence, because it's being generated, it's there, but it's not being accessed by TNTech. I think that's what really needs to be done at this point for them to figure out how that power can be transferred from that solar plant into the national grid, and that has not been, figured out as yet by the officials.
What a shambles. That story and more inside the Business Guardian. I want to head to Anthony's story, and he's asking a question. As always, he's a question man, question boss. He asked this morning, has the case against the Hadids collapsed? What's the takeaway from this story from our colleague Anthony Wilson?
Well, that's the big story for the last week and a half, really. And it really just looks into what was said prior to the arrest of Dominic Hadid and his wife, Genevieve Hadid, and subsequently the arrest of Star Sapka, and looked into the preventative detention order that was issued for them, and then really raises a question as to what basis was he held on, and given the fact that they have now been released, does the state really have did the state even have any grounds to really hold them in the first place? And it just looks into the various documents that were raised in the court matter when their release was being negotiated by their attorneys and such. And it is an interesting read. I think he has a very interesting opening line, saying that it has a similar twist to that of a Netflix series, and I can't disagree there, because when you look at the matter and everything that has been raised, and of course we would have heard the alleged audio that leaked over the weekend, it's very interesting to see what was the state's case when they decided to take action against the Hadids and make those arrests and put them into custody. So he's raised several questions, as you said, in this piece as to what would be the state's strategy and what did they justify this detention under.
I can't go through the Business Guardian and not touch on your story. I recognize that you have been able to bring an AI company into the fold, an AI agency. What does this particular agency offer? What exactly is their business model?
Well, they are looking at creating software using AI to address some of the shortcomings that we have in our industries in Trinidad and Tobago, with an aim to increase efficiency and reduce costs. Gregory Fernandez is the CEO of this company, and he, sort of decided to take the bull by the horns, given that there's been much discussion about AI and especially AI data centers in recent weeks. But ahead of the official launch of this company in about a month's time, when he's expected to roll out these software options, he decided to explain what AI can do for Trinidad and Tobago, how it can help sectors such as tourism, manufacturing, and even, day-to-day operations of small businesses. And he just laid out what he believes can help Trinidad and Tobago from an AI standpoint, while also giving his opinion as to, how the AI data centers possibly could be used in a positive way, although he does not believe it should not be implemented just yet until we once again figure out our power supply and gas supply, which would be required for those centers when they do come into Trinidad and Tobago.
Pete, as always, sincere thanks, and have yourself a tremendous Emancipation weekend.
Before we go, I would also like to point out that our climate change editor, Sigoni Mohammed, also delivered a very interesting piece on bird tourism on page 7 of the BG, where she spoke about it's something that we should explore, that, tourists who come into Trinidad and Tobago just for bird watching can spend up to $850 US a day, as opposed to the average visitor who spends just over $120. So that is also a piece I would advise that people picking up the Business Guardian should look at.
Definitely. I actually saw this story, so thank you so much for that refresher. Pete, all the best. Have a great one, and we'll touch base soon.
Same to you, man. All the best to you and Trinidad and Tobago. Enjoy your Emancipation Day holiday over the weekend.
That's right, Peter Christopher, one of our gems via the Business Guardian desk. Up next, we touch base with the fire service, their president, Keon Guy. Some concerns, firefighter safety concerns, and just a general update as to what's happening with our colleagues in the fire service. President Guy, he's up next.
Magical Expressions Limited is the largest local importer and distributor of fresh cut stems, offering the widest range of beautiful flowers at the most affordable prices. Call us today at 701-6488 or visit our website to order.
Panadol's new formula, 5 times faster than other paracetamol brands. There's no time to waste during special moments. When I need fast pain relief, I choose Panadol Rapid. With its new formula and exclusive technology, it's 5 times faster than other paracetamol, giving me effective pain relief. And it's also gentle on my stomach. Because my greatest gift is giving them special moments.
Mom, Dad, this is Trevor.
Hi. He's no Kieran. Back up.
Fling? That's why he crossed the road. It was funny when Kieran said it.
Oh, who could that be?
We're like the parents who don't miss your ex.
I can't believe Kieran is in the neighborhood.
CG United. Good like that.
Keon Guy, who is the president of the Fire Service Association, treating with their concerns. He joins me next to ventilate and to elaborate on what I'm seeing as some serious concerns. It says in my hand here, a memo, firefighter safety cannot wait. President Guy, I want to thank you for coming on, and I'm looking at this memo. And I mean, what we dealing with in 2026? I mean, simple things like ankle boots and firefighting gloves. There's a shortage. I'm quite concerned. President Guy, good morning to you.
Hi, good morning, Jason, and good morning to all of your listeners and viewers this morning.
I mean, I'm seeing this memo dated 29th of July 2026, so this was done yesterday. Who was this addressed to, and is there any kind of response as to a timeline when some of these concerns will be addressed? I mean, we're looking at shortages as it pertains to, kits, suits, poor conditions at the fire stations, lack of cleaners at numerous stations, inadequate storage for contaminated firefighting PPEs. I mean, this is the basic. These are the basics.
Yes, certainly one would think so. And again, thanks for the opportunity to clarify. This memo is, I think it's number 7 of 2026, and it's an internal bulletin that we sent out to our membership. We have a responsibility as an association to keep our members informed, and not just of the achievements of the organization or the association, but also of the challenges that is before us. And in this particular case, given the events of yesterday, which really and truly just confirmed this course of action as a result of the chief officer's clear statement that he made that was quite concerning, which is that he will not be attempting to treat with any of these issues nor would he be meeting or taking meetings with the association until a matter that is totally out of the hands of firefighters is treated with, and that is the Public Service Commission completing its exercise in selecting a substantive chief fire officer. Now, the issues there are not brand new ones, but they are issues that are ongoing. And fire officers have demonstrated their patience for a lengthy period of time. What we must be always able to tell those officers, however, is that the stakeholders, that is the Minister of National Security, the Permanent Secretary, and in this case, the Chief Fire Officer, is actively working on these issues, because these issues are not small ones. Some of these relate directly to breaches of the Occupational Safety and Health Act. And as employees under Section 10, these officers have a responsibility to inform the Chief Fire Officer of these shortcomings. The association has taken up that responsibility on behalf of the fire officers, and we have repeatedly attempted to secure meetings with the acting Chief Fire Officer, Mr. Andy Hutchinson. Unfortunately, Mr. Hutchinson has refused for one reason or the other to meet, and yesterday he made it explicitly clear as to his position, which is something that we found to be extremely unreasonable given the type of issues that we are facing and the types of solutions that we've actually been putting forward or attempted to put forward that we believe could bring some relief to these officers.
So let me ask you, President Guy, in real time, when you speak to your colleagues, how is this scenario impacting them, the shortages that you are currently experiencing? What are some of the, if you could give an example of what's the immediate impact on your colleagues?
And the impact is not just on the officers alone. The impact is on our ability to deliver our services. So the citizens in the end are the ones truly feeling the burden. So we might see fires, officers responding to fires. You might see them arriving late. You might just see them arriving and not being able to really arrest or mitigate in a soon enough time. And members of the public will tend to complain. But what they may not have an appreciation for is the issues the officers have to overcome just to mount a basic response. To not have firefighting gloves, which are the instruments that protect your hands, which every citizen uses on a daily basis, and certainly to carry the task of firefighting, fire officers will require. If we don't have firefighting gloves, it means that those officers who don't have the gloves can't make entry into the buildings. They often can't engage in any type of labor on the scene for risk of being injured. They don't have the ability to assist in rescues, or even when the fire is done, they don't have they can't engage in what we consider to be overhaul or damping down, because again, the items are still hot, the debris is still hot, and they can't engage in that. So no firefighting gloves, and again, this is not a new issue. However, we have been seeking to get updates from the Chief Fire Officer on these particular matters to report to officers, and we can't do it. Imagine a supervisor having 8 officers on his shift before him at any station at the day or the night, but 5 or 6 of those officers don't have firefighting gloves. It means his ability to detain persons is compromised. In the end, the public, as opposed to having the use of the full workforce, which is 8 persons, will now be reduced to 3 or 4. And that's happening at every station across the country. We have fire officers that have trained and passed out over the past 6 or 7 years and have never been issued these firefighting gloves. It's an issue we continue to advocate over and over and over. It's an issue I hear at every station when I visit. It's visible, it's there, it cannot be ignored. And again, for the Chief Fire Officer to make the statements he made yesterday, knowing the challenges that the fire officers are facing, again, is deeply troubling. We as fire officers do not have the luxury of putting aside the emergencies. Accidents happen every day. Structural fires happen every day. People need medical assistance. All forms part of our core functions. If we don't have the luxury of saying until these simple matters are addressed, right, we want to put the emergencies on hold. How then could the Chief Officer be able to say until his personal matter is resolved, he will refuse to act on these matters. I find that to be deeply, deeply troubling and concerning. And as a result of that, we escalated this matter to the Minister of Homeland Security, and we await his response to it.
Let me ask you, President Guy, as we look at the operational readiness, I'm seeing where in the Northern Division, still nearly 1 in every 2 stations without an appliance, some issues as it pertains to hydraulic rescue tools. I know recently you all had to rescue some folks who drove off the lookout there in Maracas. The car plunged feet down, and I think 3 people climbed out, and the firemen had to go down and rescue the other 2. So things happen in real time. And I'm seeing, as it pertains to the the fire stations, my apologies, the Sawa station, I saw some work happening. It's kind of, well, I know it's closed, so a random man painting. They're going to actually just what? They're just running some paint over that building? They're not going to break that down and build something new? What's going on with that space, and what's going on in the Northern Division as it relates to appliances?
So the Sawa Fire Station is one of the few stations that we've had approval to do some upgrade work. So the scope of work extends to an overhaul of the appliance bay, that's the area where the truck is parked, the washroom areas, and all of the other living spaces like the dormitories, kitchen. So they've got to the entire inside. They're going to redo the electrical. They're going to reinstall a controlled HVAC system, a closed HVAC system. They are going to do some upgrades to the plumbing and some of the fixtures attached to that. So the station is getting an overhaul. We, of course, would have called for the relocation of that station, given some of the elevated levels of carbon monoxide that Kariri would have reported in the last air quality samples that they took at that station. They, however, had made some recommendations with some mitigators, and we believe that there's an attempt to try and address it. The primary issue there is, in addition to these infrastructural upgrades, is the relocation of the Sawa Maxi Taxi stand that sits adjacent and just to the rear of the Sawa Fire Station, that we believe contribute extensively to these increased carbon monoxide levels that we understand could be extremely poisonous and dangerous to officers who, again, that is a space that officers rest as well. So the fact that you can have elevated carbon monoxide levels, it can lead to certainly poisoning and, of course, loss of life, which is something we want to ensure does not occur. But what is happening in the Northern Division is somewhat unique to the entire fire service. We have had for more than a decade now, the fire service has been starved of resources, financial resources that is, and that has impacted our ability to ensure that the vehicles are upgraded on a schedule. So now we have about 50% of the stations without appliances. That is, out of the 11 stations, at least 5 are without appliances, and I am advised today that that number has gone up to 6. 6 out of the 11 stations are without firefighting appliances. And the 5 remaining stations, a lot of those appliances are aging, they are unreliable, and of course they are very vulnerable to mechanical defects which occur on a daily basis. So on some days throughout the entire Northern Division, out of the 11 stations, the only ones operational are the Sangre Grande, Arima, Tunapuna, Wrightson Road, and as well as the Four Roads Fire Station. That's it, to cover the entire northern side of Trinidad and Tobago. So we had raised this issue over and over. It's not a new issue. We're seeking updates from the chief officer. We are aware that the government is planning to prepare for its budget for 2026-2027. And our hope is that those discussions would lead into the type of advice that would ensure that we get the adequate funding to begin to see a replacement of these vehicles. However, again, as I said before, the chief officer has made a decision, and our position is that dialogue must be resumed. It is irresponsible in an emergency service to have to head of the organization, indicating basically that he is down in tools until some private matter is resolved. That is something that we believe is unacceptable.
You know, I'm looking where, as it pertains to operational readiness, there are still frequent mechanical failures as it pertains to the appliances, the fire trucks. We're seeing limited hydraulic rescue tools. Are you concerned that there could be any negligence or any particular issue coming to your officers? And I say this in the context of what happened in Guyana. I mean, that's a maritime disaster. We saw a captain trying to operate a boat that was 87 years old. It went to the bottom of the ocean. He is now before the court. He's going to obviously bear the brunt of the charges in that most unfortunate situation. Are you concerned that if equipment is aging, if there is some particular issue with the tools you need to use, and you try to affect this particular rescue, and if something goes wrong, is there any concern that there could be any negligence coming towards yourself and officers if indeed what you're working with is not fit for purpose?
Yes, there is, and that concern is not just shared by the association, but by the individual officers themselves. We see that reflected in an increase in the number of drivers, which are special appliance operators, writing to the chief officer indicating that they are not satisfied with the state of the appliances, and as a result, they are now refusing to drive as drivers. They are being asked to be taken off the rotation as drivers due to the exposure for litigation as well as loss of life that could result because of them operating what they consider to be defective vehicles. And these are vehicles that are losing, having faulty braking systems, vehicles that have lockers that are falling apart, and as a result, causing equipment to be dislodged while officers are proceeding to and from emergencies. These are vehicles that doors are opening, and then we are seeing officers being ejected. And there was a very viral video of such an occurrence happening about a year and a half ago. But multiple officers across the Trinidad Fire Service have been ejected from vehicles and seriously injured. And in fact, some of them still undergoing rehab for injuries that they will have sustained as a result of this. So officers...
No, go ahead, President Guy.
Concerned, yes, my apologies. Officers are certainly concerned with the exposure with operating faulty equipment. We've seen an attempt to hold officers accountable almost when incidents occur. Remember the fire in Arima that caused the loss of life of Minister Morrison and Morris Julian, my apologies, and her 2 children. There then was statements by those in office at the time that would seek to imply that somehow the fire officers at the Arima or Puna Fire Station were somehow at fault. They then commissioned an investigation, and the contents of that report have remained confidential, both to the eyes of the fire service as a whole and to the Fire Service Association. So there have been attempts at that, and for that reason, officers have taken actions to protect themselves.
You know, my mind is blown, President Guy, from what you're telling me there. Let me, in the minute that remains, we have a couple of seconds before we wrap things up, just to end on a high note. If you know of any details that transpired in the rescue over the weekend with the folks that drove straight over Maracas down into the precipice, all these, total disaster. Do you know of the details that transpired via that particular rescue? Because that was a feel-good moment for your officers. When I heard of the particular incident and I heard that officers pulled up and they were the ones who were able to get the 2 who were stranded down in the precipice back up. What you heard about that particular rescue?
Unfortunately, Jason, I don't have the details with that particular incident. That area, however, of the North Coast is covered by the Northern Division Land Search and Rescue Team that will respond in conjunction with the officers attached to the Sawa and Ricewood Fire Station. So they would have responded and carried the rescue there. This is nothing out of the ordinary for fire officers. However, this particular incident was carried on the media. But these type of rescues are carried out all the time. They are routine. Officers have become very proficient in it, even given the limited resources that we have. We would ask the public to continue to remain vigilant, especially when you're making drives over our northern range, particularly in the North Coast, the Blanchard Road, on the North Coast Road, as well as in the Parliament area. We've had at least 3 recent incidents where persons would have gone up the side of the precipice in Parliament as well over the last month and a half, I'd say. So again, nothing too uncommon, but again, we want to commend the officers for the work that they did in this particular case as well.
Yeah, well, President Guy, thank you so much for the time. Thanks for the counsel. Thanks for letting us know what's the latest. And, you know, I just wanted to end on that tip because the fire service, your colleagues got great commendation for their rescue with the folks from South who went over the precipice. When I heard of that story, my heart sank. I say, I might drive over and end up down in a ditch in Maracas. My goodness. So thanks for that advice for us to be extra vigilant heading to the North Coast. All the best, President Guy. We'll touch base soon.
Thank you very much, Jason. Take care.
So from the fire service, we now move to the police service. Police and You. Up next, Officer Russell joins me for another impactful conversation.
Looking for the ultimate gaming experience? Welcome to Phase 22 Gaming Lounge, where gamers of all ages come to play, compete, and have fun. Dive into your favorite games on PlayStation, Nintendo, Xbox, or race on our high-tech racing rigs. And experience the thrill of VR with PlayStation and Meta Quest. Our lounge is safe, comfortable, and perfect for everyone. When you're done, check out the latest gaming systems, accessories, and even Samsung and Apple phones. Visit us on the 2nd floor of Gulf City Mall or call 786-2404 to book your gaming session today. We are your one-stop, most convenient, most helpful, most caring community pharmacy. Our pharmaceutical services include dispensing medicines, repeat dispensing, clinical governance, but we also have a fully stocked convenience store featuring our refreshment aisle, grocery lane, personal care products, toys, pet supplies. We are most conveniently located out of the traffic, just 2 minutes off the highway in Heartland Plaza, Endeavour, Chaguanas. Contact us on 220-8705 or 470-5938 and visit us soon. Gaming Express Limited is a premium importer and retailer of the highest quality brand name electronics. We stock the widest range of PlayStation, Nintendo Switch, Samsung and Apple devices and accessories. Visit us at Shop 52, Level 2, Gulf City Mall in San Fernando, or contact us by phone or WhatsApp message at 687-7480 or 301-9797 or 798-1280. Like our Facebook and Instagram pages for updates on products and services.
School closed and traffic light, so your house could finally get some attention. And at ABC Doors and Windows, our regular prices going on vacation too. From July 25th to August 8th, shop our mid-year home upgrade sale and enjoy a minimum 10% off store-wide. Get 10% off wooden doors, steel security doors and locks, 15% off windows, quartz countertops and aluminum sliding doors, and 20% off SPC flooring. Before the back-to-school rush starts, upgrade for less at ABC Doors and Windows, number 1 Chanka Trace, El Socorro.
Today's shoe sale. Get 32% off on all shoes, all stores and online. 3 days only. Don't miss it. JD's exclusive big 3-day shoe sale. JD's, Princesstown, San Fernando, Rio Claro, Gasparilla Mall, and M6 Plaza Chaguanas. Your low price headquarters, JD's.
Panadol's new formula. 5 times faster than other paracetamol brands. There's no time to waste during special moments. When I need fast pain relief, I choose Panadol Rapid. With its new formula and exclusive technology, it's 5 times faster than other paracetamol, giving me effective pain relief. And it's also gentle on my stomach. Because my greatest gift is giving them special moments.
The biggest party in sport is back! Catch every TKR match live and exclusively on CNC3, August 7th through September 20th. You don't want to miss the action. The Republic Bank CPL 2026, only on CNC3. Passion, energy, and cricket live here. Special thanks to our title broadcast sponsor, Republic Bank.
welcome, and as always, say thank you to Officer Russell for taking the time to be here with me and to be here with you, TNT, to treat with the issues of the day. It's Police on You, and I want to start on a somber note and extend condolences to you, Officer Russell, on the passing of one of your colleagues. Now, granted, he was not on duty. From all indications via page 5, it seems like it was a robbery, but still, our officer lost. It is one that breaks the heart. And again, to PC Douglas, his family, we send sincere condolences on this Thursday morning.
Good morning, Chair and Tobago, on behalf of the Commissioner, Deputy Commissioners, Assistant Commissioners, and First and Second Division Officers of the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service. I pause because I only have good memories of that officer. He was somebody that I worked with in the Western Division in the 21st Century Policing, and I recently came from the West before I assumed this role as a media ambassador and as a public information officer. That gentleman he was a very good officer. He was always ready, always came to work in that frame of mind to work, always tactical, always ready, always. And you know, he liked the hours in the night. So he started going out and get 11 to 4. He was never interested in promotion. He said he wanted to stay and guide the officers in the charge room. Spent quite a bit of his career in the criminal investigation department, a wealth of knowledge. And that one particularly touched me because of the relationship that he and I had. He was never rude, never disrespectful, always willing. That one, Mr. Williams.
Seems like it was an ambush from what I'm seeing here, because it's not like he was on duty. He was just sitting in his car there and the men run up on him.
Yeah.
Probably they didn't know.
And whether you know it, didn't know,
just
it was a police. They went to do a robbery.
Yeah, I guess.
19 years, 19-year-old.
Yeah.
And I mean, he was tactical enough, yes. But when you look at the video that is out there in the public domain, he never stood a chance against the second attacker. That person came from behind with an intention, Mr. Williams.
Yeah, that's the sad reality of the moment. And I guess, well, I know obviously no stone will be unturned. Obviously investigations will be forthcoming. But again, we send condolences. His face very familiar. Seems like I would have really seen this man before.
Yeah, spent a lot of time in the Forwards police station.
Yeah, condolences
Real
indeed.
good officer, you know, I tell you, good.
Condolences indeed. You know, I want to ask you, as it pertains to safety and security, really, let's look at that broader conversation. Safety and security for officers. Yes, you're on duty, you're in uniform, and you'll be on, but there are moments where, as everything else, you have your life, your family life, your personal life, your private life. Not every officer will be given, because he had his FUL.
Yeah.
Right? Is every officer afforded that opportunity? What happens to the officer who...
Which opportunity?
To get the FUL.
To get an FUL? Well, there's an application process, and you being an officer would not necessarily determine whether you're granted a firearm user's license. Yes, your life is under a particular... I wouldn't want to say a constant threat, because I don't feel under threat, to be honest. You know, but when you apply, you still have to go through the processes. You still have to be deemed fit. So there's no great demarcation between that of the police officer and that of the member of the public with respect, because when you apply for an FUL, notwithstanding you being a police officer, you apply for it as a private citizen. Your work, your line of work will be considered as, of course, but it's not to say that, because there are officers who have been waiting many years, just like the civilians.
Your personal life, all these things will have to come into bear.
Yes, we have to do a threat assessment, a risk assessment with respect to your life and what you're dealing with, because you may be a new officer, you just joined, and you may be in office. And yes, even though you are in office and you go at home and something happens, the neighbors will come to you. So I'm saying, yes, I believe that we could do more. I believe that we, or if not, issue officers. But of course, we have other situations in the organization as well. We may have rogue officers. I'm not going to bury my head in the sand. We have had incidents in the past. So you want to guard against these things and not make rush decisions and sacrifice accuracy for speed and just give everybody a firearm willy-nilly.
Yeah, understood. Understood.
Yeah?
Understood.
So the commissioner would definitely do his due diligence before granting an officer.
Yeah, because I guess, you know, as everything else, as I would have mentioned, your private life, your family.
Yeah.
Remember, I know certain calls are made to, let's say, someone's spouse to see how they feel about it. So it's not just your spouse, but your neighbors. Neighbors too,
family members. We want to see how you're living. We want to see if you're the bully. We want to see your conduct, what your neighbors have to say about you.
Yeah, very important. And thanks for that clarity. You know, I want to ask you, before we get into freedom of speech, a caller would have mentioned moonlighting officers who take up extra duty. What's the official policy concerning moonlighting?
Actually, moonlighting, really, you should not engage in any form of employment.
Because officers do that with their private FUL.
You ought not to engage in any form of employment outside of the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service without the consent of the commissioner. It is indeed a disciplinary offense.
But it happens, and you know.
Yes, it happens. It happens.
It's happening in broad daylight.
And it really speaks to the society as well, because you can't go to the station. Anybody could go to the station. Listen, I have a grocery, I have a particular type of store, and I want to pay for officers for an extra duty. So there's a right way to do it as well. But they may offer some more than what the extra duty would give you. And officers may be, based on their financial situation, you know, they may be so inclined to partake in such activities, but I would want to ask them to desist from doing that as well.
So let me ask, officers who are moonlighting, do they do that with their own personal FUL, or can an officer take the government issued firearm home?
No.
So that's with their personal firearm?
For you to be issued a government firearm, you must have had certain things done as well, threat assessment, and it must be sanctioned by the Commissioner of Police. So we don't just give you a firearm to go home with just so. You know, there must be some significant situation that would have happened that would have warranted you being issued with your personal, what they call a keep and carry, which is separate and apart from an FUL.
Understood. I guess it's one. They will dedicate or put aside some time so we can really go a little bit deeper with the moonlighting issue. Freedom of speech, it's a big conversation now. Many citizens are concerned. As a matter of fact, some people are very nervous to actually speak on their phone. People are very mindful as to their utterances on social media. What's the feedback? What's the policy? What's the mandate as it pertains to freedom of speech?
Well, I'm happy that persons are very mindful of their comments on social media. Now, under the Constitution, Section 4, you have the power, freedom of expression of speech, religion, to join a particular political party and share your views, expressions, opinions. With respect to how you feel, you have the ability to criticize the government and stuff like that. But you have to be careful where you take it, how far you take this criticism. When you look at the different acts, because there's harassment, so you continuously going online and saying something negative. We have libel, we have slander, we have the Summary Offences Act. You look at 1104, where we speak about obscene language, insulting language, in these obscene songs, prints, provoking persons to, in an effort to provoke persons to commit a breach. That is where you're taking it over the line. So let's say you have what you may call a peaceful demonstration. Yes, you have the right to assemble. But from the time you start chanting and shouting, you require a permit for that.
And that's in the law?
That's in the law. The police could intervene at any time when you're about to commit a breach. And the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service have a power of arrest for any person about to commit a breach, seen committing a breach, or the suspect to have committed a breach.
You know, I always go back again, Officer Russell, as it pertains to the letter of the law or the spirit of the law. I mean, someone chanting and shouting in a march, who is that going to impact really? What crack in national security is that going to create?
And I like how you say it, because there is silent and peaceful march, there are protests, there are demonstrations, and all have particular things that are required. For instance,
special permits, you mean?
Permits that are required, right? Like, for instance, you may assemble, but within the SO you would have seen we told persons they cannot assemble within 500 meters of certain places. The Director of Public Prosecution's Office, the DPP office is one of them. So you can assemble, but let's say you assemble peacefully, but you're within that 500. Then we, the TTPS, now have a power to give you a lawful instruction, and if you breach, then you could end up in some problems. When you go to social media, and that's the next issue, because everybody thinks that they have the right to say what they want to say. Yes, you have freedom of speech and expression, but that must be governed by something. You wouldn't want anybody going on social media to threaten your son, or you.
That's true. Yeah.
So when you do that now, because the threats, there's a part of the law that speaks to threats. There's a part of the law that speaks to inciting. So you go on and you say, well, go out there and just attack every police officer you see. That is inciting. That is where the offense comes in.
Yeah,
if you're saying,
it's not a son and say fire or something, you come like you could incite, you could create some kind of havoc.
Definitely. So if you're looking at your intentions behind it, what you intend, who you're urging, encouraging persons to commit a breach of the peace.
So in that regard, in the limited time that remains, what's your recommendation? What's your advice to the population?
Well, the TTPS respects the rights of the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. And we know that you have a right to express how you feel, but we ask that you do it respectfully and be responsible. That is not an absolute right. Because yes, and I know you would understand, Trinidad and Tobago, that yes, you could share your views, but you can't threaten the government minister. You cannot threaten the Commissioner of Police and his family. Their offense is created for that. The offense is created for harassment. Offense is created for inciting. And we must be careful how we express ourselves with respect to how we feel. And if you think that you're a person that cannot manage your emotions, I ask you to take that moment or two, gather your thoughts and your opinions, and say what you have to say in a respectful manner. Or put yourself in the other person's shoes and tell me how you would feel if the reverse is being done to you. Because many a times we don't think about the other person, and I know you would have campaigned, and I know you would have been on the receiving end of that as well. And you have that living experience and could say how you felt about it.
Yeah. I mean, it's one that I guess we'll stick up in for now. I want us to expand on it and really go a bit deeper, because it's a very relevant conversation, and it's one where that's why I put that question as to what's your recommendation and your advice, really, because we are in a different time. That's the reality, TNT. It's a different moment, and I guess it's for us to understand the moment and make certain adjustments. Because this is the reality, the new reality. Officer?
Well, it's not the new reality, it has always been the reality.
But I guess it's not being really enforced.
Well, we realize it's a runaway train, so we have to really...
Yeah. Well, Officer Russell, I want to thank you for coming on. Have a safe one, and God spare we touch base again next week.
Well, not next week, but we touch base again soon.
We'll touch base soon. Yes. I understand.
God's willing.
CPL action. It's going to be right here on CNC3, and we look forward to the TKR games at home at the Queen's Park Oval. Don't miss a beat. See you soon.
Time Check, brought to you by the Central Bank and the National Financial Literacy Program.
very good morning. I'm Akash Samaru with headline news on CNC3 and the TBC radio network. The jet ski operator accused of causing the death of 7-year-old Angelica Jogi at Pigeon Point on April 8th has been denied bail. 33-year-old Ashworth Burnett of Canaan appeared before Master Shah at the Scarborough Magistrates Court yesterday to answer a charge of manslaughter. Burnett has been remanded into custody and will reappear in court on October 20th for a status hearing. The suspect is accused of breaching the bathing-only zone with a jet ski and crashing into Angelica and other relatives. The former San Fernando TML student was pronounced dead at the Scarborough General Hospital. While relieved by the court's decision, her father, Arnold Jogi, said the July-August holidays have revived painful memories of the family's Easter vacation to Tobago.
Still like yesterday, so long as it pop up or you sit on myself or whatever, it's still hard on you. You go home in the evening, she's not there. Now it's holiday time.
Foreign and CARICOM Affairs Minister Sean Sobers is defending government's recent decision to vote against extending the term of the United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights. Trinidad and Tobago was the only CARICOM country to oppose the extension, joining nations including the United States, Russia and North Korea. The move drew criticism from former Foreign Affairs Minister Dr. Amory Brown, who claimed the government had failed to explain its position and suggested the country's foreign policy was being compromised. But Sobers said the vote had nothing to do with the Commissioner's performance or Trinidad and Tobago's position on the Israel-Palestine conflict. He said government's objection was to what he described as a rushed appointment process.
We saw that the concerns that were raised were not properly dealt with, and we voted in a particular way to demonstrate that, listen, we are not comfortable with the manner in which this vote would have taken place. But it has nothing to do with the work of the Human Rights Council. It has nothing to do with the person himself. As I said before, he has done some good work.
Power outages across the East-West Corridor and parts of South and Central Trinidad were caused by a fault at the Power Gen Point Lisas facility. Public Utilities Minister Barry Padara told CNC3 News there was no evidence of sabotage. However, he says TNTEC officials advised that the fault occurred on machine number 14 at Power Gen Point Lisas. He says the issue was a diode failure within the machine's excitation system. This is a component responsible for generating the magnetic field needed to produce electricity. The failure caused the generating unit to trip, resulting in the loss of 12 feeders and affecting areas including Malabar, Independence Square, sections of the East-West Corridor, Longdonville, Lange Park, Endeavour, and parts of Rio Claro. The outage lasted about 30 minutes before power was fully restored. Well, stay tuned for another news update at the top of the hour and for comprehensive coverage in our midday news and major newscast at 7 p.m. on CNC3.
It's hour number 2. Behavioral change consultant Johanse Iodike joins me live on set Mental Health Matters Thursday. And for peace sake, oh gosh, for peace sake, Johanse, for peace sake, that's the topic today. I look forward as we expand and elaborate on this interesting talking point. Johanse, great to see you. Welcome.
Morning, Jason. Morning to everybody viewing. Now, there's a saying that we hear all the time, for peace sake. Now, with humans, every word and every term have a different meaning. Even though the dictionary might have a meaning for the word peace and the word sake, everybody does take it differently. And I'm discussing it because I've heard many people say that they grow up hearing their parents telling them, well, for peace sake, X, Y, Z. And then when they grow up, they realize and have some things that they may not have said anything for quote-unquote peace sake or do anything for peace sake, but it was causing turmoil inside. So it wasn't really peaceful. We say for peace sake, but it didn't really cause peace to the person.
I guess for peace sake might be the abrupt end to a hostile moment and I guess it's almost like an adjournment. Well, for peace sake, let me just leave a chair and people move on, but the issue remains in a way. I guess, because I don't see for peace sake as a final, and it's almost like a comma, as a pause.
Well,
to be continued, as it were.
You see, you saying that, but most people, it is a full stop. Because they're not coming back to it. Because if you want to bring it up again, oh God, this thing again. I thought we buried that last week. I thought we buried that yesterday. Now, the dictionary meaning for peace is the state of harmony, a state of inner calm, and also the absence of hostility. Now, harmony is balance, and balance means is inside and outside. So sometimes you're at peace with outside because you're not seeing anything, but on the inside you're at war. So therefore it's not peace. And sometimes the opposite, because if you raise your voice, if you voice the issue, it might cause war on the outside, but you might be at peace on the inside. So sometimes you may not be able to achieve both. So it's to even decide which one is better for your own mental health.
Yeah, because peace, I think that is the thing that most, for me, I value peace. I value, as you said, harmony, quiet, serene, with self. And you try to be at peace with others, but that's kind of impossible because, relationships and whether it be work-wise, relationships in life, you have your moments. But the reality is, peace. When you are no more, you say, what do they say? Rest in peace. Peace is we pursue peace, and peace of mind, just peace.
Correct. And unfortunately, you see, when they say rest in peace, unfortunately, sometimes people can't even rest in peace because of the life they lived. They didn't even live a life where they were doing things at peace. They may be resting, but it not at peace. And I'm saying, don't wait until, some people say, well, I'll wait until I'm 60 to do this. I'll wait until my children leave the house to do this. I'll wait until. But in the time you're waiting, you're in turmoil. You're having anxiety. You're going through depression because you're not doing what is necessary for your own peace. Now, what you say just now, I agree with. When you said sometimes being at peace with people is impossible because we can't control people. Now, we could be polite, right? We could be cordial. We could even be loving to somebody.
Generous,
kind.
Things. Yeah.
But it doesn't mean that they will
reciprocate.
Correct, in kind. And sometimes you have to be at peace with that.
It's true. Yeah, it's true. I guess peace is a solo journey. Peace is really, because again, in this journey called life, the interactions with, again, neighbors, co-workers, family, friends, you name it. You can't please everyone. There are people who will have particular issues. How does one start to begin that process, Johan, of just having peace within yourself in the middle of all the chaos?
Because we are different, peace to each one of us looks differently. So firstly, to be honest, what peace really look like. Now, it don't have to be peace in general. You could start small. You could say, what peace on a Saturday look like for me? What peace in my job look like for me? What peace with my children, my husband, my wife, my parents? What does that look like for you? So you take it slow at first. And be honest about that, and then you start to make some efforts towards that. You know what? Peace is, I don't want to be able to worry about my car. So it means that I have to take my car to service every 4 months. I just give an example. So now that is peace where I don't have to think about it. Peace is I pay my bills a little more every month so that when December, January come, I don't have to worry about it. Peace is I take my son, my daughter to check up. So that if something happens, I don't have to worry. If you understand, there are systems people could put in place for themselves.
Yes, well said, because it's almost like it's a personal journey. It's really what peace means to you. What peace, I guess, could one curate and I guess I'm trying to figure out here, peace, frequency, people with similar energies. Could you intentionally, or how does one intentionally surround themselves with the energy that will help support your peace?
Let me go with energy. Energy sometimes can be described as non-scientific. When you're around somebody, you know sometimes you're just not at peace. If you understand, sometimes you don't even know the person. You could be just, something about that person I don't like. And it's not necessarily that you being bad in any way.
And we can't feel bad for that, right? We shouldn't feel bad for that. Because like when your blood comes, sometimes your blood just to take somebody.
You shouldn't feel bad for it. That doesn't mean you give you the right to go and insult the person or do something to the person. But if you not at peace around the person, you should decide and put things in place so that you can be at peace. Whether you remove yourself, you limit the amount, because something about that man or something about that woman, that off. Peace is a personalized thing. So it could be a behavior that brings you peace. It could be a practice, or even the act of just knowing that around these kind of people, right, or this particular person are not at peace.
But let me ask you though, and this is where it gets really tricky, because in a relationship, there are some people who believe that if someone is able to get them agitated, rile them up, that's passion. And because there's that passion and that particular jumping out of self, it's real now, the feeling is real. Some people, they find if it's too peaceful, if it's too harmonious, something is wrong. It cannot be that this making sense. This is not the... As I was saying, there are some folks who literally, they want that kind of excitement. Right. What makes it feel real, Johan say.
Right. Now notice in my definition for peace, I didn't say calm. I said in harmony.
Harmony, yes.
If you understand.
You said that.
And sometimes when we think peace, we think we just relaxing and we next thing. Peace is harmony. So peace could be something active, You could watch on a football field, you could see two players and they are at peace. If you understand what I'm saying, they're playing together. When you could be in a high intense moment, and because you're with somebody you trust, you both already doing something, but you're at peace because you're in harmony with that person. So it's not only about just being calm and you're lying down and what we consider one form of peace, but peace is a form of harmony. So So you and this person in a romantic relationship, a business relationship, whatever kind of relationship, and it have plenty activity, it have plenty excitement. That excitement that you want in harmony with the person. So therefore it is also peaceful.
Yeah, interesting. Peace, I'm going to tell you, the pursuit of peace. And, here the funny thing, right? A lot of people, there's this belief, Johan, say, and I want to bring this throw this caveat inside. There's a lot of folks who believe money or resources brings peace. And they get to realize that is the opposite sometimes. Because there's this thought that once you have big money, everything is peace.
It depends on the person, and depends on the reason why. Because it could be, I am at peace because I could pay for all my bills for the month, or I have enough money to pay for it twice. So once I know in my mind I have this, I'm at peace, which could be real,
I see that as comfort, but peace is so different, because you're already thinking money, especially big money. People who come into big money, it brings a level of peace. Because I've seen where it's almost like your lifestyle changed. You went into things end up getting more hectic.
Well, right. Again, and I'm saying is why you want it, because some people would say peace, but some people is really, I want money because I'm afraid of being poor. I'm afraid of being looked at as low status. I'm afraid of something. So the reason why you get any money is not for peace. It's more of avoidance of worry.
Yeah, for peace sake. But what an interesting conversation, Johan. So I'll let you have the final say this Thursday morning. Go right ahead.
Nation, we are all different. So peace looks different for everyone. But make sure if you have peace on the outside, there's also peace in the inside. Don't make life complicated, because even though life is not easy, it's really not that hard. Thank you for listening.
For peace sake, I think we need to do a part two, because I love this conversation. Great, as always, every single Thursday with Johan Say. Up next, the director of the Kambule Performing Arts Collective. We're treating with roots and rights. Yeah, good energy going right into Emancipation Weekend. See you soon.
disease is the #1 cause of death in Trinidad and Tobago, driven by 2 silent threats, diabetes and high cholesterol. But now there's a powerful ally, introducing Berberine Plus by Asia Nutrition, clinically proven to stabilize blood sugar and keep cholesterol levels in check. With 99.9% pure extract, you get superior absorption and real results. Available now at Pennywise and leading pharmacies nationwide. Berberine Plus. Your heart deserves better.
Introducing CTS College's Early Learners Academy, our physical school with a nursery, daycare, and preschool. With qualified and experienced staff, modern classrooms, and the latest teaching methods and technology, your child would get the personal care and education they deserve. Activities include potty training, storytelling, phonics, craft, academics, and field trips. Enroll your child today at CTS College's Early Learners Academy.
The biggest party in sport is back. Catch every TKL match live and exclusively on CNC3, August 7th through September 20th. You don't want to miss the action. The Republic Bank CPL 2026, only on CNC3. Passion, energy, and cricket live here. Special thanks to our title broadcast sponsor, Republic Bank.
You and your father have betrayed me, Sophia. You've been lying to me from day one. Your father was in the hangar with a bag as he entered my plane.
Eduardo took that video so he could use it against me and my dad.
Enough! Don't lie to me.
But I'm telling the truth. That's the truth. I love you. Please believe me. I do love you.
You're lying! And I won't wait to lie to me anymore.
Don't miss the gripping drama Cabo. Sundays at 8 p.m. only on CNC3.
Always a joy to have Attila Springer here with me on set, a real cultural pioneer. I mean, someone who is really dedicated to not only curating experiences for us, but just preserving the culture. And we recognize this Camberley Performing Arts Collective, you know, really important. And, you know, it's Emancipation Weekend, but I know that this is something that will continue. It's not a one-off. You know, I remember when it came for the Camberley reenactment,
Yes.
keeping that particular momentum alive.
Yes.
You know, people like yourself, so important in preserving culture. We don't want to get lost at all. We don't want the next generation to lose the essence of why certain things take place. So I just wanted to kind of, you know, say thanks for that. And I recognize your passion is really full speed ahead with this kind of momentum.
Yes.
Yes.
Good morning, and thank you so
morning.
much for having me back and always being supportive of the work that people like me do. You know, sometimes we feel like we're screaming into the void, but
you're doing good work.
you know.
From since days to the library, I used to be there studying, and you were there, and you always had something about you that was so different. And I mean, we didn't really talk back then, but I used to observe from since back then as a teen. I used to say, yeah, boy, she onto something.
Yeah.
I remember them days.
I mean, you know, the old people say, what in the blood have to purge? And I really have to salute my parents. My mother especially, Miss Entu, and the work that she was doing at the library, you know, as a pioneer of heritage. Even the notion of a national heritage library was something that she was a foundational part of. And, you know, using the library as a space for cultural education and a space to encourage people to come, to do the research, to do the deep diving and digging into our heritage, I think is so important.
Yeah, I can safely say that the reason I said that, because it would have impacted me. I would have, you know, in my later years gone on to do my own research, and when I look back, those are key moments. You know, you sit, you look, you observe, and you see people making certain moves. And once you're a culture lover, and I think all of us are, it's important for us to embrace what is ours. So many times we look at what's happening away in the US and England. We know so much about France, and sometimes we don't know about our own history, you know.
But it's almost as if we don't think that we have a history, you know. It's like, it's almost as if we feel like we just dropped from a breadfruit tree, you know.
And we clearly did not.
We certainly did not.
Yeah.
And, you know, this is why we are doing this Roots and Rights season for emancipation.
Excellent.
You know, people talk about Camboulet and people talk about freedom in Carnival as if it's an abstract, right? You know, we free, not realizing that, you know, that energy of freedom that is imbued in our Carnival comes out of our emancipation process. Because the ritual that became Juve actually began as an August 1st celebration, right? So, you know, we talk about this in Camboulet, but I feel like people don't really notice it, you know? And so it's important for us to re-articulate and reconnect. You know, it's band launch season right now. How did we end up having band launches in June, July, August? What is the genesis of that? There is a reason why. It's because there is a deep connection between the way that we celebrated emancipation and the way we came to celebrate the Trinidad Carnival. You know, and so it's really important to continue to make that connection.
I recognize it's a month-long program.
Yes.
When does it officially start?
So it officially started last Saturday. We had our first event last Saturday, and that was actually a conversation between myself, Roel Gibbons, great theater educator, director, producer, playwright, and my mom, Miss Entu, talking about the emancipation ritual and the connection to the Jamet Carnival tradition. Because, you know, we've always had two streams of Carnival in Trinidad. We've had the Mardi Gras, which came out of the French experience, and then we've had all of those traditional masquerade, martial arts, music traditions that have come out of our African experience. And perhaps we don't recognize those traditions that come out of our African experience because we say that they were just mocking their masters. But certainly there's something much more deep and enduring going on there. And also we have to recognize that the masquerade forms that we celebrate now as traditional masks come out of the African masking tradition. And those African masking traditions in and of themselves had satire built into them. So it wasn't that they were created just to mock the people who were in power here. They were created to mock systems of authority and systems that are unequal.
And look how interesting it is that remains to be a major ingredient in our social fabric. The satire, the mama guy, the papi show, we laugh it off. Pecan. Yes. We make a joke and we keep it pushing. And it comes even, wow, you know, you need to come here more often. We need to really, you know, but in the limited time that remains, I want to find out how does one get involved? Where's the information online so that you could align yourself and be part of this month-long celebration of information and history and our culture?
Okay, so we are on all these social media platforms because we really want young people to be involved in the information. So we are Camboulet 1881 on Instagram, Camboulet Movement on TikTok, Camboulet Movement on Facebook. Most importantly, one of the things that we're doing is we're having a play concert next Wednesday, August 5th at Central Bank Auditorium. And that experience it connects.
It's on the screen, actually.
Yes, exactly. It connects Freedom Morning Come, which is a play that talks about that first emancipation morning when the people of Port of Spain, the enslaved Africans, came to the governor's office where he was going to read the Emancipation Proclamation. And they had heard something about this apprenticeship scheme, which would mean that they would not be fully free. And these people gathered there and shouted down the governor as he read this proclamation that said that they would have this 6 years of apprenticeship. And they actually shouted, pas de 6 ans, because there were many French-speaking people in the country at the time. The other thing that we are launching on Wednesday is our Songs of Cambule project.
Excellent.
And, you know, that is really a music archive project that brings together the songs that we have put into the Cambule production, some of the old love-ways that have been there in our music memory for more than a century, and, you know, some of the new songs that are in a style of the old style, so like the Santimanite, etc. Right? This is really important. And finally, the rites of passage, which is happening at the end of August for young men from East Port of Spain making the transition to secondary school.
Springer, always a joy, always a joy, and we need to do this a little more often.
Yes.
With that, I'm going to make some room, bring Ian in to step into the morning shot. And a matter of fact, we're actually going to treat with the, champions of business. Yeah, we're going to deal with that, and then we segue into our morning shot. See you soon.
Textbooks, screens, late nights. Your eyes work hard through every class, exam, project, and deadline. Ferrara Optical has eyewear specifically designed to reduce eye strain so nothing holds your learning back. For a limited time, youth get a free frame with lenses from just $495. Scholars get frame and lenses starting at only $750. And lifelong learners save up to 30% off your purchase of advanced lenses like Eisen and Transitions. Less strain, more focus. Your vision without limits. Visit Ferrara Optical in store today. This promotion is NLCB approved.
So the younger one complaining that the older one is the favorite one. That is pressure. Always aim to treat your children fairly and impartially and do it consistently. Each child is different and will not learn or understand the same way. Take your time in tense situations to control your emotions and reactions and be mindful of any potential favoritism. Favoritism can lead to resentment and jealousy. At the end of the day, do your best. Share if you found this useful. Like and follow CTA's profiles for more parenting tips. The letter of the day is J. Just.
The ExxonMobil Guyana Global Super League is back. 5 teams, 12 matches, $1 million on the line. From July 23rd to August 1st, don't miss the ExxonMobil Guyana Global Super League, where champions are made.
Well, let me tell you, Champions of Business Awards 2026 is around the corner. And, you know, we always get involved. We get into the conversations and build the momentum and hype. We welcome this morning Dr. Vashti Gayodine, CEO of the TNT Chamber of Industry and Commerce. Dr. Gayodine, great to see you. Welcome.
Good morning, Jason. Great to see you as well.
Always a pleasure. And you're in great company because Dr. Demi Sinanan also joins you there on the Zoom line, Executive Director of the Caribbean Export Development Agency. Dr. Sinanan, good morning to you.
Good morning, Jason, and good morning to the people of Trinidad and Tobago.
Guys, I recognize nominations are open. The ball is rolling. The momentum is there. Walk me through, Dr. Gayodine, the time frame. Let's work with some dates as we build up to the awards.
Sure. So the time frame, the date to note is that tomorrow, July 31st, is the deadline, midnight, for a number for the deadline for 7 awards. Services award we have extended that award to August 17th. So most categories, your deadline is tomorrow at midnight.
Excellent. And I recognize, Dr. Sinanan, you are treating with the Caribbean Services Exporter of the Year. What you're looking for, what does the nominees in that particular category entail?
Yes, thank you, Jason. I mean, Caribbean Export, we really support the regional private sector in terms of growth and expansion. So working with the TT Chamber on the Caribbean Export, or the Services Export of the Year, really aligned very well with our mandate. So what we're looking for, services exporters make up the majority, even though there isn't data to support it. Intuitively, services exports makes up the majority of exports from the Caribbean region. So we are really looking to highlight excellence in services. So a services exporter that has broken boundaries and are doing business globally, we really want to highlight them. So we encourage everyone to nominate a Caribbean Services Export of the Year.
Excellent. Dr. Gardine, are we going to have this series yet again where we get that behind-the-scenes look of some of the key players?
Definitely. So the Champions of Business True Stories will again be aired on CNC3. And just drawing on what Demi said about the Services Awards, most persons have been asking us, what is a service exporter, and the different categories of services. That includes cultural and creative industries, professional services, ICT, tourism services, energy services. There are roughly about 41 subsectors within services, and all of those services are covered within the region.
Excellent. So even a cultural, somebody in culture sending, let's say, probably somebody sending mass overseas, that could be considered, you know, this kind of, they'll be given consideration?
Yes. And more importantly, Jason, remember this is a Caribbean award. Mm-hmm. So let's see, given this is the first time that we are doing this award, let's see who wins bragging rights. Which country will take the inaugural award?
Yeah, I mean, Dr. Sinanan, when we consider about 41 different options as it pertains to services, I mean, this could go far and wide. This is a really exciting addition to the awards for 2026.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as I noted, services exporters are really some of the backbone in many their tourism services. If you look at some of the OACS countries, if you look at Belize, if you look at Guyana and Suriname, tourism makes up a very large part of their economies. Mm-hmm. And we really want to highlight the champions who are really pushing this services sector forward. And services can be across the board. I mean, 41 categories, that sounds kind of low. I'm sure that's official data, but that sounds kind of low. I mean, I'm sure there are literally hundreds of services subsectors across the region that can qualify for this award. So if you know you provide a service and you provide it across borders, you qualify for this award. And I encourage you to nominate. And like Vashti noted, it's a Caribbean award, so it's open to every business across the 14 CARICOM member states. Nominate and come and put your best foot forward.
Yeah, well said, Dr. Sinanan. Dr. Gardine, as we wrap things up, when do we put on our best suit, bow tie, and get ready for the actual gala? What's the date and location?
November 4th, we are back at the Hyatt Regency.
Excellent. November 4th.
And Jason, one thing to add. So most people would want to know, how do I nominate? You go to our website, chamber.org.tt. There's a landing page in the spirit of excellence, and you will see all the forms are there. Please complete it. As I stated before, 7 categories are due tomorrow at midnight. The Caribbean Services Award, it's due on August 17th. So you have no excuses to get your nomination in.
Well, Dr. Sinanan, I want to thank you this morning, and again, kudos to Caribbean Export Development Agency for making this particular category possible. And to you, Dr. Gardine, always a joy and pleasure to have you on the program. You know, we'll be touching base every single week leading up to November, so I look forward to seeing you soon. All the best, guys. Have a great one.
Thank you, Jason.
Most welcome. Yeah, look at that, huh? That's when they know the end of the year is coming up, when we get into conversations regarding the Champions of Business Awards. November 4th. I've made a note of the date to Hyatt Regency. Ian is stepping in for the morning shot, that in-depth look at sport. Ian taking you till 8 o'clock. Have a great one, TNT.